All right, guys, bang, bang. What's going on? Lunch money time. While Wall Street's trying to get rich, the rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. I am here with the beautiful and intelligent Polina Marinova. She has the uniform on. Finally, she's paying attention. She's following the rules. All black, everything. Don't forget, the show's now sponsored by BlockFi. Huge shout out to the team at BlockFi. Get money, get paid. They're trying to get you paid. They've got 3 products. The first allows you to deposit crypto. You get a US dollar loan. The second allows you to buy and sell cryptocurrencies. And the third is my favorite. I'm an investor in the company and a user of the product, which is you can earn up to 8.6% APY. Literally, you can go deposit cash or crypto and get money, get paid. I love
See how
making
you just stole
money.
that from me?
Yeah, it's our thing now. You know, anything you have is mine, and anything I have is yours. Speaking of SoftBank,
I'm gonna go copyright it right now.
I don't think it's
Trademark it.
I think it's a trademark, but go ahead. You can copyright whatever you want. Go ahead. SoftBank, what's up?
SoftBank
Whoop, whoop.
is launching. Oh my god!
We have an issue. We have an issue. Polina just knocked over
no, I'm so
all
sorry.
of her coffee on my
What
entire
did you
book.
do?
Joe, pause it. All right, guys, hold on a second. We're back. Polina just spilled coffee.
Because he said that I was like following the rules with my black shirt, so I decided to break some rules by messing up his notebook with all the coffee.
Everything's ruined. I don't know what to do right now. We're gonna discuss this later.
That's a lot of coffee, and I'm sad because I don't have coffee. And you have coffee.
Let's talk. That's what you get. If you ruin things, that's why we can't have nice things. It's because you ruin things.
Okay.
I've always wanted to say that. Yes. Finally, you made a mess for once. All right. What's going on with SoftBank?
Well, I got too excited talking about SoftBank. Okay. So SoftBank
You're such a nerd. Go ahead.
is launching a $100 million opportunity growth fund to invest in founders of color. Now, where's SoftBank getting this money? Because the last time I checked, it wasn't doing so hot.
They're getting it off their balance sheet. $100 million for SoftBank is like $20 for you. They literally have $100 billion fund. So if you think about that, that is 1% of their $100 billion fund. It's coming off their balance sheet. And 2 is, look, it's a great move. I'm super happy that they're going to do it. I wish that more people would put money towards, women, minorities, black founders, everything. But it's just kind of, I don't know. Like I kind of feel weird about the whole idea of like, oh, there's protests going on. Let's launch a fund to do this. Well, it's just like how genuine are you?
I don't care if it's genuine as long as they're getting money in the founders' hands, right? Like, who cares if Masa had this realization that only 1% of his VC-backed founders are? This is not just at SoftBank. Just in general, 1% of VC-backed founders are black.
Yeah. So normally it's 1%. It's very, very low. So 1%, I guess, is what this article says.
Who cares if it's genuine as long as they're pouring money into it?
Agreed. But are you really changing anything by saying I have $100 billion fund? He's got a second fund. So actually, this is less than 1% of all of his investable capital. He's basically committing less than 1% of it, right? So it's even smaller percent than normal. I don't know. It's again, $100 million, a lot of money, right? But in the grand scheme of things, this to me looks more like a marketing gimmick than actual impact.
When you consider they poured billions into WeWork, it's kind of
exactly. All right, Warner Music IPO.
So the IPO market had kind of like a dry situation.
You know, it didn't have a dry situation. Our kitchen table today, because our kitchen table was popping. It was like a slip and slide with coffee. That's right. But Warner Music, a lot of people don't know this. Warner Music, if I remember correctly, they used to be a public company. They were taken private, and now they're going public again. And the group that did that, I forget who did it. They made a killing.
Wait, the one who took them private?
Yes, who took them private?
It's Access Industries.
Yes, in 2011 for $3.3 billion, and now they're going public again. Do we know what the valuation is? Come on, you're supposed to be on top of this stuff. Let's go. Let's go.
I don't know. Oh, no.
They raised $1.9 billion, and they're selling 77 million shares at $25 each. So what's pretty interesting is they brought the company private at a $3.3 billion valuation 9 years ago. Now in the IPO, they've raised almost 2/3 of that again. So this is incredible growth for the business. And look, it's pretty interesting because at the end of the day, music's not going anywhere. Streaming's popping off. All of these companies have realized that if they use technology, they can really benefit from it. And so good for them.
And you know what's really funny? 2020 was supposed to be the year that everybody IPO'd. All these unicorns were supposed to go public. Yet proceeds from IPOs are down 64% so far in 2020 compared with the same period last year.
The whole thing comes down to, guess who didn't get a bailout? Warner Music. Warner Music did the hard work. Warner Music was disciplined. They did what they were supposed to do. And then you get rewarded. You get to go public. You get to go cash it in, right? So I don't know why we're bailing out everybody else, but Warner Music, they don't need a bailout. Just a little data point there for you.
Who needs a bailout?
Our kitchen table. We're going to have to get a new kitchen table because you spilled coffee all over it.
I need a bailout with coffee.
Not only did she spill the coffee on the kitchen table, it's also got on the carpet, which is going to be a whole nother thing.
And so, also the chair in your notebook.
For anybody sitting at home who wants to know how this conversation is going to go in our household, anytime now I make a mess, I'm going to say, well, at least I didn't spill coffee on the floor.
One time.
What's going on with contact tracing? We don't need about a one time. Let's just talk about contact tracing.
I just need to tell the people. One time I went somewhere and he was alone in the apartment and I got a text message of a picture and all it said is, oh my gosh, it got a little windy in here. And I was like, in the apartment it got windy? And then I look at the picture and it's like a spilled thing with chips with like crumbs everywhere. And I was like, oh no. I
spilled a bunch of crumbs all over the carpet. I was like opening something and it spilled everywhere.
Oh, so it wasn't windy in the apartment.
And I tried my best to pick up as much as I could, but I didn't know where the vacuum was. And so I just took a picture and I just admitted to my sins and said, yeah, I got real windy in here. I don't know how this happened. But speaking of contact tracing, what's going on? Come on, contact tracing. Let's go.
Okay, so France is rolling out an official coronavirus contact tracing app aimed at containing fresh outbreaks. And here's how it's going to work. Basically, hold on. Oh yeah. So it's going to use low energy Bluetooth signals to anonymously log the nearby presence of other users. So if you come into contact with somebody who was potentially positive for coronavirus, it would ping everybody in the store or cafe or.
Let's not let them do it. This is not a good idea. Time out. Not a good idea. Flag. Not a good idea because they can tell who you are. Let me teach you guys a trick. Anonymous data does not equal aggregated data. This is one of the biggest lies of the surveillance state. The aggregated data means that they just give all of the data put together. You can't tell the separation of it. So it would be like saying 35% of people went to this location. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing with these applications and also with most tracking software is they say we give anonymous data. So they actually track each individual device at the device level, and you can literally see it move through a city. They say, oh, we're not going to tell you who it is, though, right? It's anonymous data. But let me teach you a trick. In most places, New York City is a little bit harder, but in most places, what happens is people live in homes. And so they track that device and they see you go through the city, go to work, do all your stuff. And then you go back to your home. Well, they know who lives there, either through rental agreements or through real estate databases. And so they can figure out very quickly, they can basically de-anonymize the data set. This is all a sham. We don't need them tracking anybody.
Under the French system, the data is uploaded to government-run centralized servers. And it's so funny. They interviewed a waiter in France, and he said he was ready to download the app because he sees more benefits than risks. And he said, to me, it sounds like wearing a mask in a shop. It's easy and it can help protect others. And then they interview a bunch of other people who are like, oh my God.
Well, Paul Hubert, who is the cafe waiter, isn't really a surveillance expert. So maybe we should also put in the surveillance expert who would say they are going to track you with this and it's not good. So I understand people will say, oh, they're using Bluetooth, which basically means that they're not going to have GPS coordinates. It's all garbage. It's all garbage. There was a situation, I believe it was in Tokyo. Don't hold me to that. It was somewhere in Asia where early on, there was a guy who was, he tested positive. They went back and like the night before or something, he had gone to a nightlife area and they ended up telling like 2,000 people, hey, you might have come in contact with this person, go get tested, blah, blah, whatever. And also they then shut down. It was something like a couple hundred nightclubs in the area and bars and restaurants and things like that, because this guy was simply there. At some point, we have to realize you can't stop the spread of something like this. You can slow it down, but it is not worth infringing on individuals' rights and in the United States, their constitutional rights in order to contact trace the virus.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
If we were in France, I'd call the government and be like, yo, can you ping him real quick? He hasn't responded to my text. Can you just...
No, listen, what is coming, right? Chamath has talked about this. I think David Sachs has talked about this. Eric Weinstein has talked about this, is the quote unquote biological Patriot Act. It's coming, right? They are going to implement things that are going to drastically increase the electronic surveillance of citizens. And it's going to be done under the guise of we're here to save you.
My fear is that most people are not surveillance experts and they don't know the implications of something like this. So they'd be like, oh, I can go to the club as long as I have this app. Fine, I'll download it. And that's how you get a majority of people who have no idea that they're putting themselves and their data at risk.
Of course, absolutely, that's true. The other piece of this that's really interesting is Joe Clokas, who helps us with the show. He sent me earlier today a link where Apple has the ability supposedly to shut off your camera or video. And the whole idea, if I've got the
taking too many selfies.
Well, if I've got it right, is basically like, let's say you were streaming a live concert, and so if you streaming it would be a violation of copyright laws, right? They would be able to stop you from doing that. Well, that sounds great in a music concept, kind of, until what happens if all of a sudden they say anyone in Manhattan from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. during curfew hours, your phone and video doesn't work now. You can't document anything. Again, sounds crazy, but like if I told you 4 weeks ago that New York City would have a curfew from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and the cops would be out literally arresting people for being outside their homes, I don't know.
So one of the wisest things I've ever heard. Oh God.
What did I say?
No, it wasn't you.
Oh.
But it was it's not a thing until it's a thing. And so it's kind of like it's crazy until it's
I did
not
say that
crazy.
to you.
No,
somebody else said it to me, but I said
it to you. Because I heard it somewhere else. Okay. Anyway, so it's interesting, right? Like everything's crazy until it's not. Like who would have thought we'd be in lockdown for 3 months? Like that sounds insane.
But you want to know who?
We are.
Do you want to know who thought that the idea of the government telling us to go sit in their homes was a bad idea? Me. Guess what happened? Now they're using it for other things, like, oh, it's a curfew. So first they called it a quarantine. Now they're calling it a curfew. Wake up, people. Wake up. Speaking of waking up, what's going on with Google?
Google was sued on Tuesday in a proposed class action lawsuit accusing it of illegally invading the privacy of millions of users by pervasively tracking their internet use through browsers set in private mode. So private mode is that tab I open when
That's
I don't
incognito window.
Oh shoot. Is that different from private?
I have no idea.
I
don't know the details of this. All I know is that these people want $5 billion from Google. And my guess is they're going to get something, but they're not going to get $5 billion. Because if there's even a hint of truth that Google is gathering data through Google Analytics, Google Ad Manager, and other things, when people are on private mode, which if they're serving Google ads means that they're collecting some sort of data in private mode, Google's going to lose or settle. The question is just how bad is it going to be? So look, at the end of the day, are you surprised? No. If you want to be off the grid, get rid of your computer, get rid of your cell phone, right? Most people aren't going to do that. So there is some, you're giving up some level of privacy in order to have the convenience of using these type of electronic devices. But ultimately, you've got to decide where you're comfortable there.
You know what else could have a hint of truth?
That you spilled coffee on the table?
No.
What?
The mouse on the SpaceX rocket.
Not buying it. Not buying it. They don't have superhuman mouses. No worries.
They literally sent genetically engineered mice to space, and you are over here not believing it. I just
They
can't.
didn't put him on the outside of the rocket.
One escaped.
What do you think? This is a season of Prison Break?
Yes.
Like in the animal kingdom? All right. What's going on with the tattoo regrets?
All right. So you know how tattoos.
I got no regrets.
You don't have tattoos either.
Maybe I should go get one.
With my name on it?
Yeah.
It?
Yeah. Loser right here.
Apologize.
Or nerd.
Apologize.
Or nerd.
Apologize.
No. People are very surprised that I don't have a tattoo.
I'm going to make them apologize. Don't worry.
I'll put your name right here on my neck. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Tattoo regrets. So because tattoos are so popular, tattoo regrets are also very popular.
Are the regrets popular or the removal popular?
The regret removal process is fueling a $4.8 billion industry. Well, it's supposed to be on track to be 4.8 billion, but yes.
Counterfacts. So, not that big of an industry.
Yeah, that's not that big, huh? But a 2015 poll found that nearly half of millennials and more than 1/3 of Gen Xers had at least one tattoo.
Have one and want it removed, or just have one?
It said had.
Yeah. I mean, look, tattoos are nothing new, but I tend to think that there's plenty of people who want them to get removed. What I think is more interesting, I've got a friend who I don't want to say because I don't know if he'd be comfortable with me saying this or not. Or actually, no, he's talking about it publicly. So my friend Ali Hamed, who runs CoVenture, he's very interested in the whole tattoo business and the idea of tattoo parlors and kind of the whole process around creating the idea for the tattoo, whatever. But we've talked in the past about how cool it would be if you basically could have like a temporary tattoo. And not a temporary tattoo like, oh, I got it for a day or a week or whatever, but basically a tattoo that you could put on that would be very easily removed. So it had the possible permanence of being there forever if you wanted it forever. But if at some point in the future you wanted it removed, it was much easier than going to multiple sessions of tattoo removal.
I have a question for you guys because I think about this a lot. Would you think of me differently if I showed up with like 2 sleeves of tattoos? Like, would I be treated differently? Like, would they think I'm a badass? Because I am, but it's just that would solidify it.
No, why would a tattoo make you a badass? I know a lot of people with tattoos that are soft as hell.
No. Just like if you saw me with a sleeve, you'd be like, that trick is wild.
Well, why don't you just shave your head and then
I could do that
and put a bull ring.
So I was always curious because you were in the Army, yet you don't have a tattoo. But I feel like most people who are in the Army have tattoos. But yet in the article, it says in 2013, the U.S. Army banned anyone enlisting with tattoos on the neck, hands, or face. Is that true?
Yes, but they didn't do that before 2013. You know why? Because they needed people. They needed bodies to send to war. And they were like, look, I don't care if you got half an ear, if you got a tattoo on your neck, you got only 4 fingers. Sure. Can you shoot a gun? Let's go. They're paying people to sign up. Then once they realized, hey, we don't need all these people anymore, then they started to get strict again about things like tattoos on your neck, hands, and face, things like that.
So basically tattoos are removed with lasers?
Yeah.
Do they hurt?
I think it does actually hurt. You want to know who? I think it's Mark Wahlberg. He had some tattoos, and he used to bring his kids with him to the tattoo removal process because it's painful, and he would make them sit there and watch him get the tattoos removed so that they would never get a tattoo because they could see how painful it was to get it taken away. It's pretty crazy, right? All right, drive-in disco. I'm
going to get lunch money right here.
These are the ideas that I have to listen to sometimes. So first of all, you destroy the carpet, the kitchen table, and the chair. Now you want to destroy your beautiful notebook. And now you want to destroy your beautiful face. Great. Drive-in disco time. Drive-in disco. Nope, we're moving on. Drive-in disco. Drive-in disco.
Hold on. I have a tattoo regret. No. Would you but would you still
I'm over the tattoos. I don't care anymore.
No, but
I've moved on. I've moved on in my life.
Would we still do lunch money together if I got a tattoo on my forehead?
Yeah, and all we would do, ratings would go through the roof. We just have you sit here and not talk and just sit here and people can just look at it every day, live streaming. The girl with lunch money tattooed to her forehead.
I would talk.
What would you say?
Oh, I would say a lot.
And everyone would be like, oh, who said that? Oh, the girl with lunch money tattooed on her forehead? You got to take everything she says with a grain of salt. Your judgment would be questioned. You have to be a very unbiased host here.
Germany has kept nightlife alive with during coronavirus with a drive-in disco. So basically, last month the world's first drive-in disco opened outside of a club, and all these people just drove in and watched a DJ on stage. I mean, kind of a cool idea.
I mean, how do you dance?
In your car.
Do you just stand like that's how I dance. I like dancing in the car. You just stand there with your hand out the window and you're going like this and stuff, you know?
This is how you dance?
Yeah, like you're driving down the Sunset Strip in LA with some hydraulics popping up and down in a 1967 Chevelle. What up? Bang, bang. Listen to a little NWA, you know, got your hand out the window, letting everybody know I got some music. I got some music.
You guys should see him.
Maybe some lights underneath the car, you know, it's a little extra effect for little dusk hours.
Him dancing is like truly a once in a lifetime.
I am a pretty good dancer. I will say that.
I think you're an intense dancer.
I'm a pretty good dancer. Don't worry. I've never lost a dance competition. I have a finisher move of all finisher moves. Have I ever lost a dance competition?
No, you just surprise people and they're like, what the hell is going on?
Should I tell them what I do?
Sure.
The ultimate finisher move in a dance competition, if we're at a club, at a wedding, anywhere really, you just crip walk on up to the other contestant, your competitor, and at the last second, right as you get close to them, you just pop up in the air and take your shirt and put it over their head, and it's over. Like there's no coming back. If somebody crip walks on you and then puts their shirt over your head in a dance competition, it's game over. Like just take the L, go sit back down, live to fight another day.
He's done this to like middle-aged ladies.
I've literally probably done it 100 times in my life. I'm undefeated in dance competitions. Doesn't matter. Old, young, male, female. Doesn't matter. I've got no discrimination in my bones. I'll give anyone an L on the dance floor. Okay, that's it for lunch money today. Well, Wall Street's trying to get rich. The rest of us just trying to get our lunch money right. Thank you, BlockFi. Thank you, Polina. We will now go and discuss your sins of spilling coffee all over our apartment.
Since when do you care that much about a mess?
Because this is the first time you've ever made a mess, and now I will hold on to this for the rest of my life.
I can't believe it was documented on tape.
Oh, yeah, of course. And don't worry, I might take pictures for the people later and show them all the damage you did. You know, I'm very hurt by this. You've destroyed the beautiful home that we've built. All right, guys, that's it for Lunch Money. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bang, bang. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Lunch Money as much as we did.
And don't forget, Lunch Money is now sponsored by BlockFi, so go check them out. There's a link in the description that you can click on. I'm an investor, a user, and a huge fan. What?
You're a bigger fan of BlockFi than you are of me?
BlockFi is my second favorite thing in the world behind Polina. They've got 3 products. They can give you a US dollar loan. You can earn up to 8.6% interest on an interest-bearing account, or you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies on their crypto exchange. I personally use the interest-bearing account. There's not very many places where you'll find up to 8.6% interest on a deposit in an interest-bearing account. Go do your own research. There's risk associated, but 8.6% is pretty compelling. So click on the link in the description. Say thanks to the folks at BlockFi. Subscribe to our channel. Like the video. Annoy Polina in the comments. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
And be kind to your friends.